Hello, my name is Emily and I'm an educator here at the Evergreen Cultural Center. Welcome to the Art Gallery Evergreen Online. For this Family Days from Home video, presented by Prospera Credit Union, we will be creating an abstract painting based on our walks around our neighborhoods. This project is based on our current art gallery exhibition called Wayfinding, and it features 3 artists, Leanne M. Christie, Sarah Graham, and Devin Knowles. Lately, have you found yourself walking along the same paths in your neighborhood over and over again? These familiar spaces may have taken on new meaning under the restraints of the global pandemic. Maybe you started looking a little closer, noticing previously unseen details, documenting your surroundings with an excitement typically saved for photographing your out-of-town vacations. The artists in this exhibition look closely at the neighborhoods and cities they live in. They notice the buildings, the streets, and the objects that may seem familiar or out of place, reimagining their discoveries through colors, patterns, shapes, and abstraction. Through mediums such as oil painting, drawing, and experimental stained glass, the artists explore their interest in city building and architecture. The artworks in the exhibition invite us to slow down and witness how our urban environment is developing and changing around us. This artwork by Leanne M. Christie is called Rezone Hastings. Leanne paints in conversation with the cities that surround her, both at her studio in Vancouver's Chinatown and at her home in Coquitlam. She finds inspiration as she moves between these spaces, whether by walking, cycling, or transit, and transforms her commute into a dynamic record of her experiences in the urban environment. In Sarah Graham's Caution 2020 series, we see an example of how daily neighborhood walks that the artist took with her son at the beginning of the pandemic captured a distinct moment of temporary change in everyday life. In these graphite drawings, Graham illustrates the caution tape used to mark temporary danger zones on otherwise safe, shared public amenities such as playgrounds, benches, and soccer fields. This exterior artwork beside me is by Devin Knowles. It is called Walking Spectrum 51W20. She documented her walks around the city by photographing her surroundings, collecting materials, and also arranging the composition into a stained glass window. This arrangement here is inspired by her walks in early 2020 where she came and visited Coquitlam. The array of colors are inspired by a location nearby the Evergreen Cultural Center. I absolutely love how she created this piece with all the different colors, shapes, and textures to create this new artwork that's inspired by the architecture of our lobby windows. We are going to be creating an abstract painting based on our walks around our neighborhoods. So first, we gotta go on our walk, so let's go together. Go for a walk with your parents around your neighborhood. Bring a sketchbook or a camera to record the shapes and colors around you. Take note of your walking paths. Are you walking straight along the sidewalk or taking a stroll along a curved trail? What colors, shapes, textures, or patterns do you see? Capture and record anything that stands out. Your walk will be the inspiration for your painting. For this activity, you will need a few things. Firstly, you'll need something to paint on and some paint. Here I'm using canvas and acrylic paints, but you can use whatever you have at home. My suggestions are watercolor or even tempera paints. Experiment and see what you can make with what you have. Next, you'll need paintbrushes, a container of water, a paper towel, or an old towel to wipe your brush. You'll also need some painter's tape or masking tape. Lastly, you'll need a container to put your paint in. Just make sure you have a tablecloth or something to paint on top of. We will start off by using our tape to draw out the path from our walk. This doesn't have to be exact, but we want it to be inspired by our walk. So here are some options for our paths. Firstly, you can place the tape directly on the canvas as is. This is great for creating straight lines, like roads and sidewalks. Second, you can crumple the tape to create a textured look to resemble a dirt path on a trail or a hike. Third, you can cut the tape into little strips to make a dashed line, and it makes it look like a journey. Here are some options for you but you can try and explore to see if you can make new ways to use the tape as lines. Now you will press down all the tape to make sure everything is stuck really well onto the canvas. You don't want the paint to seep underneath the tape. In this next part, we will begin painting. Something to keep in mind before we start is that acrylic paint can stain, so be careful where you are working and wear something that you don't mind getting dirty. Now, we will recall the different shapes and colors that we saw on our walks. Layer all those different shapes and colors on top. Don't be afraid to paint on top of the tape. Your goal is to cover all the white from the canvas. You shouldn't be painting the same way I'm painting because we went on different walks. Our experiences are different, and that's what makes our art unique. Now remember, when you want to switch to another paint color, you'll want to wash your brush. Here at Evergreen, we really like to do a swish, and then a wipe, then dab on your paper towel. That way your brush is ready for the next color, and it won't make it all mucky and dirty. It also won't get all the dirty paint water all over your table and possibly even your painting. When you're finished painting all the different shapes, you can try adding little details like color pops that you saw, lines that you noticed, and add them to your painting. Now the last step is to remove all the tape and see how the final painting turned out. Let's take a look. And here are my finished paintings. I actually made 2 paintings based on the same walk, and you can see how similar and different they are. I hope you get to try this Family Days activity from home, and you can even experiment. See what you can do with a black canvas, painting it black first, then adding the tape and paint. I hope you try this out. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Thank you for taking part in the Art Gallery at Evergreen's online workshop. We hope you enjoyed this video and we'd love your feedback. Please take a minute to fill out the survey in the link below. Your input will help us to continue to provide meaningful art experiences in creative new ways.